That home is where officers find 2 bodies. The family's attorney tells Fox 4 the couple had been dealing with depression after their latest legal setback. Frisco police have not yet released the names of the man and woman found dead, but their attorney and some of their loved ones have not heard from them in days. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. It is the home of Sumit and Pallavi Dewan. With her husband's support, Pallavi Dewan had been fighting a murder charge for the death of their 10-year-old son, Arnav. First on Fox 4 News tonight, Calvert Collins is at that Frisco home with more on this death investigation. Calvert?
Well, Stephen, Heather, police just gave us an update, basically not releasing any new details. But I want to show you what's particularly unique about this crime scene is that you can see the crime tape surrounding just this house. And that is unique because police say they are not looking for any suspects, but would still not confirm if this was a murder-suicide or who the deceased are. But say investigators will be working through the night. You can see from Sky 4 a tarp covered the pool. Investigators say a woman's body was found there, a man's inside where their bodies remain tonight. Many who live in this neighborhood tell me there was one subtle clue that something might not be right inside.
It's just kind of a sad situation that, I don't think we'll ever really know what happened or what triggered it.
So much tragedy inside 4 walls. 3 people now dead within months. Several neighbors tell me they noticed the Dewan's back door open the past 2 days.
The fact that someone would actually notice that the back door is open and they didn't even inquire about it.
On January 29th, Frisco police investigated the death of 10-year-old Arnav Dewan. His body found in a bathtub. His father, Sumit, had been out of town on business. His mother, Pallavi, at home, and later charged with murder. The Dewan family has long maintained Arnav had a medical condition since birth and died from natural causes. An autopsy was inconclusive, ruling Arnav died of undetermined causes, saying he likely had a seizure that led to a ruptured cyst in his brain and caused a heart attack. The Dewan's attorney argued to police Pallavi tried to preserve the body on ice as part of their Indian culture until Sumit returned.
You can't necessarily make assumptions based upon how another culture operates or acts, and I think that brought into question what really did happen when the son died.
Frisco investigators said when they found the boy's body and asked Pallavi if she caused his death, she nodded, but the family believes that was misconstrued and has been fighting in court. Michael Nozzle lives feet away from the Dewans and said he barely knew them.
They were very, very quiet. They were hardly ever visible.
Sources told Fox 4 that family members had been unable to reach the Dewans in the past few days. And Sumit told Frisco police his wife had been depressed and even suicidal.
And it's just so heartbreaking, and you feel so safe and so comfortable in your own home, and then suddenly it's not.
The Dewan's attorney, David Finn, spoke with the parents more than 48 hours ago and said nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but did mention Pallavi had been under enormous stress during the legal process. Plus, the pair recently petitioned for Pallavi's passport to return to their native India, but the request was denied.
At this point in time, you look for kind of rational words that you would be able to say at a time like this. There just aren't any.
2 weeks ago, a Collin County judge ruled that the murder charge should go to a grand jury. That was after Sumit and his brother testified to a different grand jury. Now, we were also told that some of the Dewan's other family members who live here in North Texas were planning to come here to talk with police. We have not seen them this evening, Steve.
All right, Calvin, you talked about a judge saying a grand jury should hear the evidence and the investigation should proceed. Some of that evidence that was revealed in that hearing that led the judge to make that ruling, I don't know how you would categorize it, but I think it surprised a lot of people, some of Mrs. Dewan's behavior right after the death of her son.
Well, That's certainly understandable. And the prosecutors really gave a timeline of events, so to speak, that after Sumit Dewan had returned home from India on January 29th, Pallavi left, bought a $300 gift card at Tom Thumb, and then rented a nearby hotel room. Police said that surveillance video showed her staying there for 22 minutes, then going back home where the two officers were waiting. Pallavi and Sumit started arguing in Hindi, and Sumit eventually pointed towards the bedroom. A detective then testified officers kicked open a locked bathroom and found 10-year-old Arnav dead in the bathtub, fully clothed, surrounded by melted bags of ice and Hot Wheels cars, which of course is what the defense has said all along. The Dewan's attorney did say that if the man and woman in this house, in the Dewan's house, which police again have not confirmed identities, but if it does turn out to be Sumit and Pallavi Dewan, that it would be a tragedy.
And Calvert, it's been described to me when they wanted to get the passport to go home and kind of have a religious ceremony out of the country for Arnav, that not being able to do that, if according to Hindu religion, would be devastating. True? Is that what you're hearing?
Well, that's what we've been told, from David Finn, their attorney, and that this was, their culture, and this ritual, so to speak, was part of their culture, and that's what he has said that Pallavi knew to do, but that there was some kind of miscommunication between her and police back in January, and hence this almost 8 months of legal proceedings.
Last thing before we let you go, Calvert, does it still look like an active investigation? Police still moving around the scene, actively in and out of the house?
Well, most of the crime scene investigators are actually on the back side of the house, right, and we're told that they are planning to be here all night. We've been seeing firefighters kind of bringing in supplies. So from what we just heard, that yes, it's anticipated that they will be here at least partially throughout the night, and that there will be an updated news kind of information or press conference tomorrow morning.
Okay, right. Calvert Collins live in Frisco. Thank you.
A new study found double mastectomies do not boost survival rates for most breast cancer patients. But that same study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, found the surgery is on the rise. Fox 4's James Rose joining us now with more. James.
Well, Heather, researchers have determined when considering a double mastectomy, there is one critical thing you must find out, and that is if you have what's called the BRCA gene.
I want people to actually make decisions that are based on science.
Oncologist Gerald Edelman has been treating breast cancer patients for more than 20 years. Researchers have determined women who have both breasts removed after being diagnosed with breast cancer had just about the same survival rate as those having less invasive procedures. In 2013, Angelina Jolie made headlines around the world when she had a double mastectomy. The difference is, Dr. Edelman says, Jolie had something called the BRCA gene.
BRCA mutation is very rare, and it's a genetically inherited mutation, so you inherit it.
In fact, Dr. Edelman says only 5% of all breast cancer patients have the mutated gene. The JAMA study indicates in 1998 only 3.6% of women with breast cancer opted for a double mastectomy. In 2011, the number rose to 33%.
But for those people that have that BRCA mutation, Angelina Jolie actually did the right therapy. She had both breasts removed, and that reduces the risk of having another breast cancer by about 99%.
So I'm glad I didn't do both.
In 2009, Teresa Best, one of Dr. Edelman's patients, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She opted to have one breast removed because she knew she did not have the BRCA gene.
When they discovered my breast cancer, I said, no, God gave me one healthy one, I'm keeping it. So.
Dr. Edelman says he prefers the least invasive treatment based on the kind of breast cancer.
I'm a little bit surprised at the amount of people that actually want bilateral mastectomies, but I'm not surprised in the sense that I think we all fall prey to what we hear on the news, and we admire celebrities, and we kind of use them sometimes as a model.
And oncologists say the only model you should use is your family history. If there is a history of breast cancer or ovarian cancer, Edelman says young women should be checked for the BRCA gene. It's as simple as a cotton swab of the mouth. Heather?
All right, James Rose, live tonight. Thank you.
Another hot day for early September, but it didn't keep golfers off the course. There are at least a couple more hot and dry days ahead of us. Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry is in the Forewarned Weather Center. Dan.
Yeah, Steve, we've reached a couple days now past Labor Day. It really hasn't done much to relieve the heat here in North Texas. Highs today from our weather spotters, 98 degrees from Taos and Waxahachie, Rodney Nicely in Whitewright, and also Jerry Madonna in Weatherford. Now, overnight tonight, the air is a little drier, and with the mostly clear skies, that will allow temperatures to fall into the 70s area-wide by early tomorrow morning, with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Meantime, the remnants of Dolly, they brought soaking rain to parts of deep South Texas earlier, and while that system was too far south to bring any rain here into North Texas, we do have a chance as we head towards the weekend. We'll talk about that and let you know if there's any more significant heat relief on the way coming up in your 7-day forecast.
It's got to be the most attention ever paid to a practice squad player. Michael Sam suited up at Valley Ranch for the first time with a ton of cameras pointed at him. Sam's the NFL's first openly gay player. Officially signed with the Cowboys practice squad after being cut by the St. Louis Rams. Now he says he just wants the opportunity to contribute. Fox 4's Mike Ducey is in with comments from Sam and others at Valley Ranch. Mike.
Well, Steve, Michael Sam was born in Galveston, and the native Texan is excited about returning home, as you said, to more hoopla than any practice squad player in the history of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow. Even for a guy accustomed to the spotlight, Michael Sam seemed a little overwhelmed today.
Feels good to be a Cowboy. Feels great.
On the Valley Ranch practice field for the first time, Sam wearing number 46, the NFL's first openly gay player, has the same goal as thousands who've practiced here. Make the team.
I'm trying to help the Cowboys any way I can so I can earn a spot on this team and help our team win games.
Sam spent the preseason with the Rams, sacked the quarterback 3 times, more than the combined total of the Dallas defensive line during that stretch. And Sam bristles when asked if he's fast enough to play defensive end in this Cowboys scheme.
Did you not watch my preseason?
Yeah, I did.
Did it look like I was slow?
No, I don't get it.
Then I'm an in.
As far as others at Valley Ranch, no discouraging words for the newcomer.
Everyone's got different politics, religion, views on things, and I think what you find is that in the locker room, no one cares. It's about, can you help this football team win? And we're always bringing in people to help the football team, and if he can help us, it's a bonus, and we'll be lucky to have him.
We are looking for pressure players. And that's his position. We hope that he can refine his skills. He's not ready to go at all. We look at it as not only a way to potentially improve our practice squad, but also develop a player.
We felt like there was a good move for our football team right now. Not any different than bringing a number of other guys back in on the practice squad or guys we're trying to add to our roster. We're just trying to help our team get better.
If anybody at the ranch seemed slightly annoyed today, it was Coach Jason Garrett. He praised Michael Sam, but grew tired of the questions about him.
Again, I think we've probably talked too much about all that. He's a practice squad player we're going to bring in here to try to give an opportunity to help our football team, and our attention and focus is on the 49ers.
Well, yeah, the Cowboys do play a game Sunday, the opener against San Francisco. Michael Sam says several of the veteran players, Tony Romo and Jason Witten among them, made a point of welcoming him to the team, saying it's time to get to work. I'm Mike Ducey, Fox 4 News.
Horse thieves take off with a beloved former champion barrel racing horse that's now badly hurt.
That's where they took her out. See right there where the grass is mashed? That's why. They opened this up and took her right here, and then the footprints went that way, right down this fence line.
Now the owner is going to great lengths to find Sugar and keep her other horses safe as well.
Shrinking space and flaring tempers and temperatures too, I suppose. In-flight fights over reclining on planes are turning into all-out seat wars. Former airline executive and frequent flyer Mark Drush is here to talk about what's gone wrong in the not-so-friendly skies.
And do you need cash but you can't wait for payday? An app promises to deliver without the big fees or penalties. How it works, coming up on Fox 4 News at 9. Horse theft in Mansfield has police and experts from the Texas Cattle Raisers Association searching now for a former barrel racing champion.
The owner of Sugar says she was taken right out of her fenced-in pasture. Fox 4's Zahid Arab is in Mansfield with more.
Well, Steve, signs like this one are up all over the community with the owner pleading for help to find her stolen horse. But for people all over the area, the fear is thieves may be enticed to come back.
A car with an added feature.
Oh, yes. Equipped with my pillow.
Isn't exactly a bridal suite.
No, but I don't care.
But it's Marilyn Richardson's bedroom for now. She's on watch at all hours after thieves stole her former barrel racing horse, Sugar. Comfort matters less than concern for her other horses, Sunshine and Dodger.
I'm worried they're going to come back and try to get her and that colt.
Marilyn thinks they tried twice. On Sunday morning, she found Sugar caught in a guy wire with a bad cut to her leg. She suspects Sugar was trying to get away from someone. The next morning, the 15-year-old quarter horse was gone.
I can't talk about it.
Marilyn says footprints go from her pasture past her fence and through a construction lot where witnesses saw a horse trailer parked.
I've had her whole life. So I don't know what else to do. You know, big jerks took a horse with a hurt leg like that.
Sugar needs penicillin or else her leg could get infected.
And I've had her all her life. She's 15.
Marilyn is going around Mansfield.
She's a bay mare. She's got an injury to her back right leg, and that's the brand on her left hip.
And at horse auctions all over, making sure someone isn't trying to sell Sugar.
This does not happen here. You don't hear of stolen horses.
The group Lost Pets Mansfield is spreading the word online. Marilyn has added floodlights and locks to her gates.
I thought I'd just stick it in here with me.
And something sharp to keep her company. With Sunshine and Dodger's safety at stake, Marilyn is making sure thieves won't take her for a second ride.
This is me. Just like this. Just waiting.
So far, Mansfield police have no suspects. Now, the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association is also investigating. A spokesman tells me out of the more than 2,600 cattle and horses that have been stolen so far this year, the average is about half will be recovered. Steve?
All right, Zahid Arab, thank you very much. A Mesquite man was convicted of felony animal cruelty for beating and then drowning his pit bull. 60-year-old Robert Pritchard told police he killed Candy, the dog, because she had turned on him and attacked him. Jurors watched as he demonstrated how he grabbed the dog and beat it with a shovel. They agreed the shovel is, in fact, a deadly weapon. And they also watched surveillance video from his home that showed the beating and then the drowning. Pritchard now faces up to 10 years in prison.
A 16-year-old girl will spend at least the next year and a half in a juvenile prison for killing a motorcycle rider. Chris Stroman died July 16th at Walnut Hill and Brockbank in Dallas after being hit by that teen driving a white van. She was charged with failure to stop and render aid in an accident that caused serious injury or death. Former Southlake Carroll High School student 18-year-old Hudson Bales was arrested for threatening a shooting at the school. A student told the school resource officer Bales threatened her and tweeted, "I can't decide if I want to commit a school shooting and plead insanity or not. Help." Officers quickly arrested Bales after reading more of his tweets. Bales told police he looked for his parents' gun that he knew was often unlocked, but police say his father had actually at that time locked it up. Bales is now out on bond and charged with making a terroristic threat, which is a third-degree felony. The latest war in the airline industry is not over fares. It's actually over seat space. At least 3 in-flight fights have broken out between passengers when one person tried to recline their seat. All 3 times the flights have been diverted. Now, it all started more than a week ago when this guy, his name is James Beach, he used a gadget called a knee defender on a United flight. It actually keeps the person in front of you from leaning back, and it is banned by U.S. Airlines. But the other passenger thought that her seat was broken. When he owned up to having that knee defender and took it off, he says that she rapidly reclined, nearly breaking his laptop, so he pushed her seat forward and put the knee defender back on. That's when she got mad, threw Sprite on him. The pilot diverted the plane to Chicago. Both passengers were pulled off the flight. Now, Beach called it surreal and says that he's, quote, pretty ashamed and embarrassed by what happened and that he could have handled it so much better. On reclining seats, though, he says, you have the right, but it seems rude to do it.
All right, Mark Drush is in. He's a former airline executive, frequent flyer, flies all the time. And I got to tell you, I have been mystified with what he said right at the end. I posted some stuff on Facebook. This whole business of reclining your airline seat is rude. I've seen that everywhere. Where is that coming from?
I don't know where that's coming from, other than people are starting to say, hey, I don't like having your head in my face. But it's not rude. Those seats are designed to recline, and they don't recline real far. It isn't as though they're sitting in your lap. They recline about 2 to 4 inches, depending on the seat and where you are. So I really think you may have hit it on the head. It could have been the temperatures were driving people a little crazy today.
I don't get it. I was having a conversation in our newsroom last night, and a producer said, I like to put the table down and rest, and then they come into my space. Like, your space?
Yeah.
Okay, so the seats go back, what, 3 or 4 inches?
Yeah, 2 to 4,
the one
depending.
in front goes, and you have that same right?
Yep.
So whose space is whose space?
Well, you know, it really comes down to this. The only space you really bought is the space that your butt is sitting in, full stop, okay? Everything else is sort of the global space. So it all depends on how you want to treat your fellow passengers. And you know what? If somebody is trying to do something, you know, they're trying to prepare a drink for their child, or so, and you lean back, that is, hey, you can say to them, hey, you know, I'm trying to take care of something. Could you wait a moment? You don't have to be rude about it. That's what I think mystifies me more than anything is, why are people being so rude? Because there's no reason to be rude. A simple, hey, do you mind? I'm trying to do something would probably have resolved that. He even said that himself.
And it's funny, some of the attitude, and I don't know, I don't really get it, but it's like, I don't recline my seat. I don't eat meat. I drive an electric car. It's you know, I don't do that, and I'm better than you for it. All right, I talked with an American Airlines flight attendant today, 25 years experience. He's pretty much seen it all. He said he blamed it on 2 things. We can kind of move through this. Number 1, he says the airlines drive to make money and put a price tag on everything and have seats in coach that are tight and a little further forward. You get a little more room if you pay for it. And he just says that whole cattle hauling system and every seat is sold out now has contributed to this. You agree?
Yeah, I agree, but keep in mind a couple of data points. I looked at some numbers recently. Over the last 5 years, the average airline fare has only gone up 2% versus inflation. So it really hasn't moved in 5 years. Well, how have the airlines been able to keep your fare?
You pay $30 more for it.
Exactly,
you
because
pay $50 for that
so
bag.
if you want a real cheap, if you want cheap bare bones, you can get the cheapest fare out there. If you want a little more comfort, you can pay a little bit more.
And that's what he says. People want to get first class seat for $149.
Yeah.
And
you don't walk into Neiman's expecting to buy a pair of shoes for the same price as you would at Macy's. It's just that simple. You decide where you're going to go and you pay. If you're 6'5" and you're not trying to buy more room on a seat, shame on you.
Okay, interesting. He also put blame on flight attendants. He said, hey, when I'm in one of these situations, I become the bad guy. He says, no, you don't get to, they can recline as much as you want. That's the rule. And if you cause a problem, you're off. He says, I become the bad guy because he says the flight attendants who say, would you mind not reclining? And then they say, no, I want to recline. Then it pits these two against each other, and then he's got a war.
Well,
it sounds interesting to me.
It's interesting, and particularly coming from a flight attendant, but keep in mind, if the flight attendant hadn't been rude and it said, look, you got to pull your seat up full stop, somebody would have complained about, oh, this rude flight attendant. So flight attendants can't win or lose in terms of that battle.
He's got 25 years, so he
might
he's
have
in a better position.
But here's what the traveling public has to remember. You're on an airplane. The flight crew ultimately dictates what you can and cannot do. That is a federal law. Right. So if the flight attendant or the cockpit said, move your seat forward, you better do it. Otherwise, expect to land in jail.
Right.
So on an airplane,
stop being obnoxious and kicking
exactly.
The seat.
On an airplane, you have to remember, ultimately, they're the authority, and you have to listen to them. And the other part, too, give everybody a little credit. We are so burned from what happened in 9/11. Everybody is worried about, I don't know if this person that's causing a problem is perhaps going to go wild and try to do something to airplanes. So remember that we live in a different world today.
Civility. We've lost
it's gone.
I do have one last thing. These people who have forced landings has not been punished. They have not been. I mean, you fine somebody $10,000, that ends this whole game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it should. It should. I'll tell you, I'd throw somebody in jail for a day. I'll tell you, you find out you go in jail for that, you're not going to be screwing around.
No matter what side you're on,
no matter what side.
Stops.
And imagine those other passengers on board. Their flights have now been delayed. They got to their location. They may have missed their connecting flight. I would be really mad if I was one of those passengers.
Yeah, this beach fella said as the flight continued, it was silent in there as they were being diverted. No, everybody's
no surprise there.
Mess. All right. Mark Drush, thanks.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Nice seeing you.
Can't wait for your paycheck? Well, there's an app for that, and it promises to give you cash without a set fee. Steve Noviello puts it to the test. That's ahead.
Tired of waiting for your wages? That's alliteration, isn't it?
Yes.
That's good stuff right there. Waiting for your wages. Well, now you can get paid when you want with no fees or penalties for early access to your cash.
Consumer reporter Steve Noviello is on your side tonight with the app that unlocks your earnings.
Need cash? They've got it. Big money loans ripe for the picking. But with big money comes one big consequence.
You're going to lose a lot of money in fees and stuff.
Stephen Prentice has been there himself. When times got tight, he turned to an online payday loan service. The fees were overwhelming.
And I got caught in just a continuous loop of having to pay them a fee just to keep the loan going because I couldn't pay back the entire amount.
Recently, another bind. This one almost cost him his home.
I was on the cusp of being evicted from here.
But this time, he turned to technology instead.
It doesn't make any sense to have to manage your life with just a part of your money.
Ram Palniappan is the president of Active Hours, the smartphone application that gives you access to your money as you earn it. That's right, now payday is any day.
I don't know why we've instituted this 2-week waiting period on wages.
Limiting access to cash until payday doesn't keep us from spending. Instead, Ram says it makes us count on credit and keeps us overdrafting our bank accounts to the tune of
$35 billion a year.
As a country, we spend less on fresh veggies each year, which gave Ram a fresh idea. Users upload their hours to the Active Hours app. Anyone with a digital or online time card is eligible. Then, as you work, you can access your take-home pay. Yes, there are limits to keep you in control. With just one click, your cash is deposited into your bank account, all of this for the palatable price of...
There's no fees, there's no interest. We ask the customers to pay us what they think is fair.
Yep, no interest, no fees. The payout for these payday loans is purely from customer tips.
I don't know of anybody that would just not pay anything for a service like this because it's really helpful.
Stephen was skeptical at first.
This has got to be a scam. I mean, it looks too good to be true.
So he tried borrowing just $100 against the hours he had already worked. He got the cash, no problem, no fees, no interest. Now, not only is he unlocking his pay,
what did we get? 2005 BMW 325i.
He's unlocking the door to his new car.
I wouldn't have been able to get the car at all if I hadn't had just the extra couple $100 that I needed for the down payment. I was a little short.
He warns consumers should be careful and keep control. He says he did when he turned to Active Hours to cash out through the app that has employees from more than 250 companies already.
I mean, it's their money, they've already earned it.
Cashing in.
As we mentioned, there are withdrawal limits, about $100 a day. Come payday, Active Hours will debit your bank account to immediately pay back the loan. The available cash, by the way, is post-tax and post-deduction, so you never have access to more than you actually earn. A link to Active Hours right now, myfoxdfw.com. I'm Steve Noviello. That's my 2 cents. Spend it wisely.
A little September swelter here in North Texas with temperatures once again well into the 90s. There is some hope, though, to cool off a bit this weekend. We'll talk about the rain prospects as well coming up in your 4-1 forecast.
I do remember as I was put on that airplane, I don't even know if I'm going to make it to the U.S.
Fighting with faith, one of the 2 Americans who survived the deadly Ebola virus shares the thoughts she had throughout her ordeal. Ahead on Fox 4 News at 9.
Number 46 for the Dallas Cowboys, Michael Sam. Paula, doesn't matter what his sexual preference is, a horrible record the Cowboys have, all he can do is help them at this point. Leonard, it's not about what he is, it's about what's inside the Holy Spirit. Raven, hopefully just some great football talent. Melissa, who cares if he's gay? Cowboys can't win, maybe he can help. But will, he might as well paint a bullseye on his jersey rather than a number. Each team, opposing team, will test his skill level to the max, I think. Amber, who cares that he's gay? I don't understand why everyone keeps making it an issue. He can play. Heck, I'm a Broncos fan. I'll be the first to say he's a great player. I hope he has a great career and do big things for the Cowboys. Tina, that won't be his number. They said they're going to change his position. Well, Tina, if he gets promoted to the 53-man squad, then you're right, his number would change if that happens. Dawn, we need all the help we can get. I think Sam will be an asset. I wish him good luck with the team. And Laura, this guy is good. Who cares what he does on his own time? Taking my turn tonight, I say, Michael Sam, you help the Dallas Cowboys make some history on that football field.
Well, this is generally the time of the year when we start seeing the weather change across the country, and it certainly has across the northern tier with stormy weather featured by frequent cold fronts here and intrusions of cool air every few days behind those cold fronts. But as of right now, some are hanging on across the south, including here in Texas with that ridge firmly in control. What we will see, though, as we head into the weekend is a very weak cold front that'll slide south of the Red River, kicking off a few widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. This front's not going to do much to relieve the heat here. We will see highs drop back perhaps into the lower 90s by Sunday, but the real relief is still days away. Here's a look at what we expect temperature-wise as we head into the weekend towards Monday. We'll be in the upper 90s here the next couple of days. 94 Saturday, 92 on Monday or on Sunday, and then back into the mid-90s by Monday of next week. Rain chances don't look overly great at this point in time. About a 30% chance on Saturday and about 20% on Sunday. High temperature today, 97, 78 the morning low, 93 and 72 the averages for this time of the year. Pollen count was 38 today for ragweed, so we're starting to get into ragweed season. Air quality good and your UV index very high at 9. 84 in Fort Worth, 88 in North Richland Hills, 91 degrees in Dallas. Winds have subsided a bit from earlier this afternoon. They're blowing south-southeast now at 13 miles an hour. Overnight tonight, I think just about all locations will fall back into the 70s for lows, and then high temperatures tomorrow in the mid-90s with some upper 90s in a few select spots. Factor in the humidity, and tomorrow's heat index will top out right around 102 by mid-afternoon. Well, deep south Texas saw a soaking rain today thanks to the remnants of Dolly, but the showers and storms making it barely up into far southern portions of North Texas earlier this afternoon around the Palestine area. That was it. 99% of us stayed dry today with partly to mostly sunny skies. And that'll be the theme here the next couple of days. Hot and dry weather both Thursday and again on Friday. But as we head into Saturday, as that weak front dips south into North Texas, that'll kick off at least widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. And with the cloud cover, it'll be a bit cooler. 98 tomorrow, 97 Friday, 94 degrees Saturday, 92 Sunday. There are your two chances of rain. And then it's back to hot and dry Monday through Wednesday with perhaps another cold front Wednesday night or Thursday.